Tim Cook was just interviewed, and it seems that he's very confident about the whole possible China ban. Apple's sign-in feature is good for us, but apparently putting developers on the spot with certain regulations. And Huawei refutes claims that their production lines are closing and claims that they haven't changed production at all. I'm Jaime Rivera, and pre-recording is what you do when you have to travel again. I apologize for the face. This is Pocketnow Daily, brought to you by the OnePlus 7 Pro. The official news today begin with deals. The new iPad Mini 5 is exactly what it is. It's new. You're not supposed to expect any deals right now. The current price is $399 in most retailers, but Rakuten currently has it for $70 off, which would pretty much have it end up be like $330 already shipped and everything. Obviously, there are the hurdles if you're in the United States and everything, but you can learn more about it in the description, as you need to follow a specific code to get the discount. Now let's talk about the Samsung Galaxy S10 in Cardinal Red. I personally want this phone, but it's not going to launch in the United States just yet. It's now official for Western Europe and Switzerland and Russia. Well, it's exclusive there for now. Apparently, you're going to be able to buy both the S10 Plus S10, and it seems that the S10e is also going to be part of the pack eventually. We don't know exactly when it's planning to launch outside of Europe, but we'll keep you posted because I definitely want one. And since we're talking about Samsung, let's now focus on everything that's happening in China, particularly because it doesn't necessarily just affect US companies. There are also Korean companies manufacturing in China. Samsung being one of them, 13% of their production was happening in that country. Now, apparently, the company is scaling back to just 1%. Obviously, this includes layoffs. It seems that Samsung is being clear that they're providing compensation and everything. But yes, this is official. Samsung is moving away their production as much as possible. Obviously, they want to make their whole situation less complicated with everything that's happening in the United States. And yesterday, we discussed how even the United States is pressuring other countries in Europe to follow on the ban. And since we're talking China, let's talk about Huawei now. We know that Foxconn is famous for all of their production within China, but you have to remember Foxconn is a Taiwanese company. It's not mainland China. So obviously, Foxconn is looking for ways to comply with the United States. Not exactly sure how they're handling China, but there were rumors that there was going to be a drop in production from Foxconn for Huawei, not necessarily for the whole China ban, but mainly because of all the sales that Huawei is not being able to capture. As it turns out, Huawei has just confirmed that no, that they're not scaling back production, that their orders are still exactly the same, and it seems that according to Huawei, everything is still normal for them. So let's just hope that that obviously doesn't permeate to future launches, or we don't know exactly what to expect here. And let's talk about Apple now. Obviously, we covered a lot about everything that was announced at WWDC, but we know that there are things that fall through the cracks. Not everything is covered, and so one interesting one is this whole sign-in with Apple feature. Obviously, Apple is making this look like if they're secure and other companies are not, and this is the reason why they're offering it. That's fine. The problem is when we see the policies that Apple is forcing developers to follow. The first one being that developers are forced. If they have a sign-in with Google or Facebook in their app, they are forced to add sign with Apple on their app as well if they want their app to be certified. That's the first one. The second one is the whole topic of, that they're forced to have the sign-in with Apple on top of the other services, being shown in a much more predominant way, which, that's, come on, Apple. I mean, right now, Apple is going through a little scrutiny over the whole topic of Spotify and the fact that they hold a monopoly, particularly in the music industry, and how they don't force users, but they suggest Apple Music more than they suggest Spotify on their store. That's all clear, but this is getting rather weird. I wonder how developers are going to react, because whether they like it or not, this is the way they have to get their apps signed, period. And finally, the hottest news today have to do with Apple's Tim Cook in a recent interview he was in, where he mentioned two very important things. The first one being the scrutiny that Apple is going through over having certain senators and presidential candidates considering Apple to be a monopoly. The fact that, the App Store is a monopoly. There are no other options to be able to install applications on your iPhone. And we've got senators even asking that Apple should split the App Store. I don't exactly think that they understand exactly what they're asking for. But point being is that this is what Apple is going through. And when interviewed, Tim was like, you know what, Apple can go through scrutiny. This happens, but this is definitely not something that's concerning Apple. So obviously they're open to going through the process of scrutiny, but they don't think that it's going to lead to anywhere. And then the second thing is obviously the China ban, the possibility of this. What does Tim Cook think about the, everything that's happening and how this can affect Apple? According to Cook, this is not going to affect Apple, up to the point where the company has not been summoned by the government of China. They haven't been summoned by the United States. He totally acted like if Apple was unscathed completely, and that he's not expecting for anything to come out of all this. It makes all the sense in the world if you think about how much Apple produces in China. Obviously, I don't think that China's going to want to lose that business. And I wonder exactly how they're handling that part with the United States, mainly because I know that US products can be manufactured to a certain extent outside in other countries, but not fully, at least when it comes to cars, but I don't know exactly how that happens with tech. If you know about this, let us know in the comments down below. But also, in today's question, what do you think? Number one, do you think that Apple has a monopoly in their App Store? And number two, what do you think about Apple not being affected by everything that's happening to other companies like Huawei? In my case, I feel that whatever is not affecting other companies is great. I feel that it should be a general thing. Commerce should be open, one. And then second, when it comes to the monopoly, I don't know. I mean, it's not like if consumers can't just go out and buy an Android phone. So I don't think that Apple has a monopoly. This is just the way it is. But leave us a comment down below. We'd love to know what you think. And friends, this episode of the Pocketnow Daily is brought to you by the OnePlus 7 Pro. This phone has proven to be a true game changer thanks to its notchless Fluid AMOLED display at 90 Hz, its new triple camera system, and its fluid software experience, all matched with a very affordable price tag. Follow the link in the description below to learn more about what makes the OnePlus 7 Pro so cool. Friends, again, if you want to get the news earlier, follow us on Pocketnow.com and subscribe to both our channels, English and Spanish, for more videos like this one. You can also follow us on Instagram, as most of our extended coverage happens there. You can also follow my personal handles. There are a couple of crazy running photos there. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.